tsSF。
Hey guys, how's it going? So this is me just putting together a couple tutorials for chipsynth SFC. It's a brand new plugin. I've been very much a part of its development, and yeah, it's pretty complicated for some people if you're not exactly sure how MIDI instruments work polytimbrally, if that's a word. So basically, you have multiple channels, Super Nintendo channels 1 to 8, and monotimbral mode is, monotimbral, I can't speak tonight, is basically the normal mode from most of the other chip synths. Basically, it just allows you to play all of the layers at the same time. So when you hit a note, actually let's change it to monotimbral. When I hit a note, everything's going to play. But when I put it into polytimbral mode, what that basically means is whatever MIDI channel is playing that note, the Super Nintendo channel, or I guess in this case the layer number, will be the corresponding output channel. And of course, if you have multiple MIDI channels playing at the same time, then of course you have 8 channels playing. So typically, chipsynth SFC comes with a bunch of presets, but I just want to play a demo of the Donkey Kong Country bonus music that I made as soon as I heard that David Wise was going to be beta testing some of the stuff. I ended up putting this together, so wanted to just play it. And this is polytimbral, of course, and just to prove that it's playing back from chipsynth SFC, I'll just have the plugin playing here. So there you hear samples are changing around. You can see it's not really automated. It's actually using just general MIDI patch changes, which is one of the ways that you can change around samples. Another way is you can automate it using your, like for instance, using your DAW's automation tools. That's not it for Cakewalk. In Cakewalk, you can use, I guess I gotta go into, yeah, I have to choose this. There it is. So I have to choose the chip synth, and then I have to choose the correct layer. Cakewalk's automation kind of looks a little bit garbled, but of course your sequencer or your DAW might be a little bit different. But as you can see, you can choose which layers sample, and you can automate it using an envelope right here. It's a little bit harder to do it that way because you don't exactly know which values will indicate which 16 samples you've got. But I mean, it's just as easy to use regular patch changes, because then essentially like polytimbral mode is like a sound font mode essentially. So yeah, chipsynth SFC, let's start over. Blank project, perfect. Chipsynth SFC, whoops, let's close all of this. I'm just going to load up a new instance of chipsynth SFC. It comes with a bunch of polytimbral presets that I actually created. Sorry, I've got a lot of the beta tabs still here. I didn't clean up my install before I put in the retail version. Oh, here they are, polytimbral. You can see that there's a bunch of quote-unquote genres that like RPG, which I muddled around a bunch of RPGs like Final Fantasy and some adventure games like Zelda. Platformer, of course, is kind of a model of Super Mario World, essentially. But what I would suggest is if you're going to be doing your own polytimbral music, I would suggest loading up this init patch, which basically it comes with all of the matrix set up for you, because by default chipsynth SFC only has the step 1 and the vibrato setup. But as you can see for controller 0 and controller 7. Controller 0 I have set to sample changing if you want to automate your sample changes through a continuous controller. CC7 is your volume, your main volume. CC8 looks like I set it up to invert to turn into surround mode. CC10 of course is panning. 11 is expression, which is another volume controller, etc. So I've got everything. 91 is enable echo for the channel. I got everything set up so that you don't have to do it manually. So let's load up a sample. Let's grab the iconic Final Fantasy VI strings that everybody seems to love. Okay. So we've got Final Fantasy VI's strings right here. Looks like I had an aggressive echo set by default when I saved that preset, which is fine, but I have a bunch of other presets here already from Chip Crusher. But you can also just click the grab echo button and it'll grab the echo settings from that SPC. It's a little bit less aggressive. So to set it up, we'll make some MIDI tracks. Typically you would have 8, of course. And let's move chipsynth down to the bottom. Okay, so we got our 8 SNES channels. Right now, those MIDI tracks are not directed to the VST, so I'll just do that very quickly. And the fastest way to do that in Cakewalk is to just pull up the console, highlight all the tracks, hold Control, and then just choose chipsynth, and then it changes all of them. So now that I have track 1, which is SNES channel 1, when I start putting in notes, I should hear the strings. Perfect. So I am not very good at playing keyboard. Well, yet I'm going to be practicing a lot more. But I'm just going to draw in a quick chord here, maybe a C major chord. It's not a C major chord, that's more like a C major scale, isn't it? Oh my gosh, everything's so hard to see. So here's the thing is, by default, I believe I have the preset set up to have 8 voices. No, I have it set up to 1. So you can set it to 8 voices, which means you can have more than one note playing in the same channel, which of course, so we got a C major chord. If we set it to 1, it will only play 1 note, which is how the Super Nintendo actually did it. However, if you have it set to 1 and you start breaking up chords like this, then you get something called legato. It is an effect that's very famous in Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy VII, essentially. Very easy to do. Like it. Love that sound. Not too many games use that iconic sound in the past, but it's all good. So that's how you would normally do it, set it to 1. The other reason is because what you would want to do is, especially if you have chords, have 1 note play on each channel, because then you can I'll just set this up really quick. So there's only 1 note playing, and the reason, of course, is because we need to... Oh, I did already open up those ones. Oh. I have to set my MIDI channels, too. Always assign your MIDI channels. See, this is kind of an impromptu tutorial. Set up this. Set up this. You're always supposed... Whoops, set up This was 6. I think I set that to 5. No, I set it to 1. I'm not going to be using all these tracks, of course, but you get the idea. You're just trying to assign each track to have the correct MIDI channel corresponding to the Super Nintendo channel that you want to be able to control. You should also set up your patches as well. So I'm going to set up patch 0, which is the string. Zero, 0. So now when I play it, that same chord is going to play, which is a C major. But the cool part now is that I can pan each and every individual note, which is how Final Fantasy games used to do it. So that sounds pretty cool, right? That's pretty much the gist of what PolyTimbral Mode is. It allows you to treat everything like it's a sound font, or treat it like how the original Super Nintendo used to treat it. The patch changes you can change in the middle of the song, of course. But the only problem with this mode, it could be a feature in the future, but the drum kits can't be really done this way. I mean, you can set in the Matrix mode a key range where you can set different samples to the higher the notes you play, and of course you just tune the samples to play the correct sounds when you hit that key. The other thing you can do for drum kits is set it to mono-timbral mode rather, and then set up your key ranges right here. That'll be a different video. I want to show you how to do drum kits in a separate video. I also want to show you how to make a multi-sample instrument. I think that's pretty much it. Maybe I'll load up a different example here, and then you guys can play, or if you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comments below. I think I closed it. Okay, here's a good example, a Final Fantasy II unreleased song that I made a Final Fantasy VI arrangement of course. This is a MIDI file, so actually this is good. I can create a chipsynth instance, and then I can load a preset that I made with this instance. Great. And then all I have to do is just direct all these channels to chipsynth. This is going to be a new way of sharing music online. Basically, make your completely polytimbral MIDI file and distribute a Firmatax preset file for chipsynth SFC. Then you can share your music with people. And here we go. So you can see how I actually modulated the bass samples there. I don't know if modulate's the right word, but I definitely manipulated which patch was playing without having to set in a patch information. So let's just solo this channel, and you can see right here that continuous controller. I have continuous controller 15 set up to change the sample. So there you go. If you have any questions, let me know. Leave a comment. And I think the next one I want to talk about, PolyTimbral mode set to voice 1 like SNES mode, how I have it set here. You didn't hear any clicks or pops or anything like that because I know how to set it up properly. Quick little cheat is basically cutting off the notes before the next notes start. That's what all the old Super Nintendo games used to do. I'm going to go into more in depth with that in a different video. Just wanted to cut this one. Already went about 5 minutes longer than I wanted to with this video, but that's okay. So hopefully you guys learned something here. And again, said this twice already, but if you have any more questions, let me know. Yeah, basically this is a super powerful tool where if you set up the matrix properly, you can pretty much do anything you want it to do. All right, guys. Yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Take care.